Okay, we're live. Wow. So it's been a
Hello,
while.
everyone.
Hello. Obviously, this is going to be some news that literally no one knows about. We have contacted the police. We've been in communications with them. There are certain details we can't share just due to the ongoing investigation, but this is only information that you'll get from us, our little channel. And it's because we have boots. Honestly, I'm gonna really hand over all the everything over to Dawn here, who is suffering from a concussion right now, and it's related to this. So, uh, for future reference, be very, very, very safe
Yeah.
when you're getting into situations like this. We'll discuss what happened and we'll discuss what has been learned. And we'll talk about next steps. And we'll certainly update you if we find out more information. But at this point, I I don't know that more information will be discovered, to be honest. This is pretty
Well,
shocking. It's taken us
discovering her would be, yeah.
Of course, that is still ongoing. I know that they've stopped the excavation due to weather right now. So hopefully we'll have some outcomes soon around that. But okay, so I just wanted to kick it off first by just generally going over where did we start with this case. So very quickly, I know most of you have been following this case for a very long time. 39-year-old woman, last seen at her son's flag football game, leaves at halftime, seems antsy according to her ex-husband Jim, is last seen walking her dog near the Hope and Flower building, downtown LA at 1201 Hope. And then her dog was mysteriously discovered on the 29th floor. We'll talk about that because we have some information around that in the building. And just last week, was it? They started, I guess, 10 days ago today, they started the excavation of a whatever it's called.
Alberti, Chiquita Canyon landfill.
Yeah, it's a landfill, which came as extremely sad news, and that was certainly something that the police wouldn't have been able to hide from the media. So I think it was a reactionary letting us know type of thing. Because, as you all know, the police and the media have been very silent around this, suspiciously so. So, what we've been trying to do is make sure that Heidi is well represented and has a chance to have a voice that is fair and it's not focused on information that is relevant to the case, but not the whole case. So, we started off by suspecting that, of course, it had to do with her line of work. We knew from friends that, and this is well communicated in the media, that she was very worried about tax filings a few days before she went missing. She was named an agent or a manager or an owner, I think, on several LLCs. She had LLCs with Jason Sugarman, with Matthew Nordgren, and some other people, but mostly it was just her
Elizabeth
and
Gruber.
yeah, Gruber, yeah. So there were, bigger players involved, but the I guess the learning is that she had her name on a lot of these documents and she was the financial controller. And so she was potentially going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, we don't know what was going on behind the scenes in terms of any SEC investigations. We know that her boss, of course, had some lots of trouble. We talked to Derek Galanis, which is Jason Galanis's brother. Jason is in prison right now for his involvement in some Ponzi schemes that he sort of held hands, actually, not sort of, he did hold hands with Jason Sugarman through them. They're actually described as 50-50 partners in some of them. But Jason Sugarman was not, his case was civil, and so he had to pay a fine or something, and that was the end of it. So no prison time. Okay, so we first suspected Jason Sugarman, of course, or someone related to her work. We also suspected Jim, the ex-husband, because of his outspoken kind of, and it's, he was the first person to go to the media. His story didn't quite align, and just based on statistics, it usually is because of the spouse or the ex-spouse
A
of a
thorough
person.
investigation is going to check out everybody, regardless
Yes.
of how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in the very beginning, we thought, no, of course, like he would never do that. He has a son with this woman. Who could be that evil to do that to someone you care about so much, or at one point cared about so much? But we know that crimes of passion do happen, and we did look at the court documents, and he wasn't very kind to Heidi during those court proceedings. But regardless, he was a person who we looked at because we needed to do our due diligence, and so he was one of our suspects, not the police suspects, but he was someone we were looking at. Same with Sugarman. Jim also,
Can we circle back to that? I really want to say some
yes.
things about that.
So and this is I'm just starting off with what we looked at. Okay, so
Because I
the
really like
suspects
to
in
clear
our
the air. I
minds.
think it's necessary to clear the air
We
in that
Yeah.
respect.
So we'll circle back to these suspects and say, like, these people are absolutely involved, absolutely not involved, we think probably involved. We'll talk about it, but it's extremely clear that some people are absolutely not involved. We also looked at the current boyfriend, Naeem Salam, who doesn't live in LA, we don't think, has been on and off with Heidi for a long time. She texted him that she was afraid before, apparently, this is, we can't confirm this because we don't have Heidi's phone, but she had communicated with him, and Jim said, indeed, he was a good guy. He doesn't suspect him at all. Jim was the one to point the finger at Sugarman, or foul play related to work. And then we thought, of course, related to work, maybe the Galanis connections. We know that that family kind of throws people away. They're tools, essentially. They did that to their own son, to their own brother. So that wasn't outside of the realm of possibilities. And then,
Who
of
has
course, the last
successfully
thing.
come through it with fine colors, by the way. What a
Mhm.
great person
Oh
he
my God.
is now.
We love Derek. We
We do.
love
We love
Derek.
Dick.
Yeah, he's great. And then the last thing was, hey, it could have just been a random. She could have been walking downtown, and things happened downtown LA, and she could have been carjacked or mugged or whatever. So I will tell you on a personal level, I have been working full time, probably more than I should in terms of being full time, and also working full time on this case. So as soon as I would get any moment after work, I would be focusing all my time and energy on this case.
Yep.
And in the last few weeks, I've been running around in circles, and I kept landing at the same place. And that was IEC Consulting. Okay, so that's a company that's registered to 4002 Hope Street South. So the Hope and Flower building. They're on the 40th floor, VIP floor. And I just couldn't figure out what they did. They're a catering events company, according to the SEC and according to their filings. And the people who are involved are heavily invested in cannabis, which is interesting, and we'll talk about that, about why that's interesting. As some of you may know, if you've been following this case very closely, especially with our lives and other videos, you'll know that Heidi was a part owner of Arcadian Capital LLC, which focused their business on cannabis. So they claimed to have, dozens of cannabis companies working with them to provide good, cannabis related products to customers without ever having touched a plant. Okay. So that's where I was at. I was running around in circles. I couldn't, I was like, okay, well, have IEC Consulting worked with Matthew Nordgren, Arcadian Capital? What are they doing? I couldn't find any information on events that they're putting on or whatever. And they had started offering stuff, or I guess they began their company in December 2020. And I just I felt weird about that. And I couldn't make more connections. And so I personally had to step away. I was too stressed out. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I just desperately wanted to call the police and let them know everything that we had found. So this is where Boots steps in. So Heidi was last seen at the Hope and Flower building, and Dawn has been going down to tend to the vigil. Okay, so it was raining on, when was it that you went down? Would it have been Monday?
Day before
No,
yesterday.
Sunday. Wait.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not
woke
going to
up
ask you
thinking
dates.
It was Monday, so I'm not even. My head was.
I think it was
not
I think it was December 7th.
Let me
Yeah, it was the day before yesterday. So December 8th. Yes. But anyway, so Dawn went downtown, and this is where we found out the most information. And I'm just gonna interview Dawn on this because holy moly, it's shocking. So first of all, you went downtown.
Wait, Allie said Wednesday.
Was
Today
it Wednesday?
Friday.
It's Friday.
So it was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday, yeah. So the 8th.
Okay.
So you went downtown, and so you tended. So what time did you get downtown around?
So one of Heidi's close friends, and that's all we will say about that. And I have gone down the last 2 weeks to tend to the vigil area that's down there with Heidi's picture, posters still asking for information, and candles. And it started sprinkling Tuesday night. We went up Wednesday at about 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m. to put plastic over the pictures so they didn't get ruined.
Okay,
and so that's at Hope and Flower on the corner.
At Hope and Flower. And so did you ended up going inside the building, right?
Correct. So someone that she had met previously at the vigil, the actual vigil in October, that lives in the building, she recognized, and actually this person recognized the girl I was with, and she was at the light, and she pulled over and said, "Hey, I have a flat tire and parked down in the garage. Will you help me?" So we said yes, of course. I had AAA, called AAA, got her tire fixed.
What kind of car was it?
Maserati.
Oh.
Yeah, she
funny that she. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the other car? Do you happen to know?
Mercedes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So this person's wealthy.
Well, yes. Neither of us knew, though, who this person was. And because of the ongoing investigation, I cannot reveal her name. But I will say that she's somebody that later we come to find out is closely connected with a famous rapper's case in Georgia. I believe it was in Georgia.
She's a public figure.
Atlanta. Yeah, a public figure. That's kind of
in not a good way. There's no good press around this person.
No.
But we won't say any more than that. But anyway, so this is, so that person recognized who you were with because of their connection to the case. Mm-hmm. And so they just said, "Oh, listen, I recognize you. Can you help me with my car?" Was that the conversation?
She recognized, and she told her, "Hey, I'm trying to get my tire has been slashed and
slashed.
And she was with, and it's important to say she was with her her 9-year-old son. So that's important later on. But so it was a very non-threatening situation at that time.
Other than the
And
slashing of tires. To me, that indicates
well,
like
we didn't know it was flashed until we went down there and looked at
yeah.
it. So.
Okay, so you went down and what did you do? You called CAA for this person?
AAA.
AAA, because
Yeah.
they couldn't call a tow truck, I'm assuming,
They
on their
didn't
own.
have AAA apparently.
No. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, so you call AAA, get the car thing figured out, and then what happens? Did you go inside the building from there?
We did. She invited us up there was a resident happy hour type of thing with snacks, and she thought that she knew she had spoken previously to several of Heidi's friends about the fact that she knew about a little bit about what had happened, but that her son had seen 7 that night because her son was walking the dog.
Okay.
So the son had been talking to us about 7 that whole time. And
was there anything he said about 7 that was interesting?
That he knew 7.
That he knew him,
And he had seen
so
7 that night as well, at about 10
so
o'clock.
Okay, so was he the one who found 7 then initially? No.
He just saw 7.
Saw him.
He saw 7 with somebody who was watching 7.
Okay, and this was on which floor?
Building. I can't really tell you. I mean, I guess I'm not sure if that's.
Well, we know that
at that time. Wait, so at that time, 7 was on the 8th floor.
Okay,
and they have a dog. They have a dog run there.
Okay, they have a dog run on the 8th floor. That's public to everyone in the building. So that's where 7 was. Okay, so that's where he saw 7, and 7 was with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
he was with an unidentified person.
Okay,
nobody knows who that is. He just described him as someone with a hoodie on, and he had 7, and the 7 recognized his dog. So that's how he's so sure who that was.
Okay,
so she had been there before.
Obviously. So you're talking to this kid about that, and now you know
about that, and us about that. Like, we didn't ask any questions. I mean, he was very, very wanting people to know that he knew 7. He knows all the dogs in the building. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine if there was a dog run in a
building.
It's a
big dog place.
I would know.
A lot of people have pets there.
That's awesome.
Or dogs.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so then this person whose name shall not be named, but is a public figure, is talking about just from what I understand, just a high level kind of basically telling you that they know some information, but not saying a whole lot about what happened at this point.
It seemed
right?
like this person wanted to talk about what happened.
Okay.
And well, definitely, she wanted to talk about what happened, and wanted people to know what had happened. But
okay.
And she really wanted to talk about herself too. So that's how I found out that she was related to this rapper case that was a criminal case.
Okay. Yeah. And so now you guys are all hanging out at this happy hour. Is the happy hour on the 8th floor?
It is, in the common area.
In the common area. Okay, so you guys are hanging out there, and she starts talking to you about what happened. And why is it that she knows what happened?
She was there, and I know that because she told me, but because she also, and I can't share those, but forwarded some video and pictures, not of Heidi, but of the event that Heidi was at, and the aftermath inside the apartment 4002.
4002
on the night of the 17th, and the timestamp was 11. You have to double check, but just
I think it's like yeah. So it's 11 p.m. and this is, you say, the aftermath of Heidi.
After Heidi was no longer in the apartment. Right.
So already I'm like, Oh, wow. This is a lot to process, right? So you're sitting there with this person who has information. And so how are you approaching this? So like what kind are you asking questions, or they just it sounds like they were looking to just reveal this information and then talk about how they were involved because they like talking about themselves. Is that
They didn't
right?
really she didn't really talk about how she was involved, just that she was there, and witnessed a lot of what happened, as well as, well, and other people that also were in the building that night, not there at the event, but in the building, that work for Ani. And I'll say that because that's a very, very big deal.
Well, and Ani, so just to back up for those who don't know, Ani is the owner of this building, 1201 Hope Street. They have their headquarters in Vancouver, literally down the street from where I live. Within, like, I could throw a rock at the building if I wanted, I won't. So if Omni is watching, I won't throw rocks at your building, I promise. But they are located here, and they generally, I mean, a lot of their buildings are rental only buildings. So 4002 would have been the rental would have been what, 20 over
I
$20,000 a
can
month.
actually check. I don't have it right here with me, but I believe, if I remember correctly, of I'd have to get it to get the
I
exact, but
know.
it
I
was
think
around
it's like
3,500. I
25,
think. I think it was around 35 or 38, wasn't it?
38. Oh yeah, 1,000. Yeah, not 100. For those of you
No,
who
no, no.
think like, oh, that's reasonable. No, because we know that
I
the
don't have it
what
right
was it?
here
The
with me.
38th floor was a cool like 9 grand a month. So like the upper penthouse floors. So I will say that I've seen these pictures, okay, from the night of the event, and I mean, I would describe it, and I'm curious to know what you think, Dawn, but I would describe it as a club, like very dark, like half naked people hanging around.
It looked like they had
What
hired
else?
strippers, like that kind of.
Yeah, I mean they
Definitely, yeah.
look like dancers to me.
Yes. Dancers,
But
thank you. I'm
there's
sorry.
no, that I think that both terms are okay. Just depends on the person really, but they weren't wearing much clothes and they were wearing very high heels, so you can only
And let me
yeah.
make this very clear. Heidi was not one of those girls
No.
at all. She was not in that involved at that in that type of situation or in a thing at all. She was not. It was not like that.
So
As far
what
as
else did you see in those pictures? I know they're quite blurry and it's dark, but it's very clear that there are activities going on, right?
yes. So what I was told, and I'm just going to tell you what I told, not what I think. So what I
Thank you,
was
Kimberly.
told by the person who took the pictures and gave them to me was that they were taken. Well, one of them she commented on was taken after in the aftermath, and the other ones she didn't mention. She just sent them to me, so she was proving that, hey, I was here. This is what it was.
Mhm.
She also had mentioned that there was illegal gambling going on with cryptocurrency,
We'll talk
and
about that.
that she didn't mention anything about any illegal drugs, although she owns a CBD company, which is not illegal to own one. But but she did make it very clear, and it was backed up by 4 other people that were also that knew, because they were employees of Ani. So all the employees knew and were asked very
Knew about what
sternly
happened.
and threatened not to say anything to anybody. Um,
So I
but
will add
mhm,
that so, and we don't know this for sure, and we'll talk about why, but Ani apparently sent out a communication to their staff saying, what? Do not talk to police.
mhm,
Do not talk to police
yeah,
about what happened.
correct.
So we haven't confirmed what exactly that communication entails. I have a
But it
friend
was an
who
email that was sent
it
to
was an
all the
email.
employees.
It's in writing.
Yes.
So to me, that's interesting. I do have a friend who is a city planner here in Vancouver and who does work with Ani sometimes, and she let me know that it's quite common for companies to send those types of communications after something had happened. She works specifically with a hotel downtown where a lot of people do there are a lot of deaths there, and so they want to minimize PR impact. But this, she said she's never heard of them requesting people not to talk to police. You always cooperate with police.
Oh, wow. That's
So
not what this one said
no.
at all.
So
Let me
and
make it clear. This woman that I was speaking to or speaking with is not an employee. She is actually a resident of the building. Like she
so
is an
how did she
actual
know
resident
about this email?
because she was dating the concierge that was on the clock that night, who helped set
Okay.
the party up that was happening on the 40th floor.
So now we know there's a party that was happening at 4002 1201 Hope Street South in downtown LA. And we know that people have witnessed exactly what happened. So,
Seven.
what did she tell you next? So, did she know around what time Heidi arrived and why Heidi went there?
She didn't say anything about the time she arrived, but just that she didn't actually say anything about that. It was the son had told me specifically the dog was seen at 10 o'clock, and he knows that because he had school the next day, and he always walks the dog at that time. His dog.
Okay.
That's how he knows what time it was.
Okay. But she confirmed that Heidi was at the party, right?
Heidi was there to see somebody that not only she but the other four people confirmed what had been dating that lived there.
Okay.
She
And this
did
is
not
not
mention
Naeem.
she did not specify if that person was living at 4002, but that person was in 4002. And I don't know, could live there, could not. I'm not sure. But that's what she was doing there. She went to see him, and as we all know, and I'm going to say this right now, as we all know, Heidi had been on prescription Adderall from the time she was, I believe, 13 for ADHD, which is not illegal, which is doesn't mean that you are crazy
No,
or a
children
drug
take
addict or
this.
anything else, because that's not
Children
what it
take
means.
it, and it legitimately helps ADHD. She has been confirmed to be diagnosed with ADHD. And when you have ADHD and you take a drug like this, it doesn't speed you up and get you high.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be very, very clear with that. So, people with ADHD, when they take these drugs, they're able to focus better. Okay. They're not on uppers, they're not running all around crazy, getting
Which
high,
would
having
explain why
fun.
she was antsy at the game.
Yes, she
Uh,
needed her medication.
yeah.
Okay. So that's all we'll say about that. But I just want to be very, very, very clear, as I know you do too, Don, that this
Yes.
is not a criminal thing. It's not criminal to need your medication, but sometimes people have to get it in other ways.
And here's the thing: is the people that I spoke to that night made it very clear that Heidi was not using legal drugs and that she was not a drug addict, and she was not involved with that event or any others that they know of in that way, as anything but she was dating somebody in that building that was there. Um,
And
and
again, we don't know who that is, right?
we don't know who that is. But I just want to make that very, very clear. She
Mhm.
was not a drug addict, and she was
No.
not using drugs, and she was not. She was a good person,
Yeah.
and not that drug addicts aren't good people. I'm just saying,
No.
like, she was not
Well,
there
we
to
know how motivated she was to be a good mom to her son. We know
absolutely.
that.
Yes,
She got up on her feet all on her own, like did so much. I can't even imagine. Like, I'm a
she
single woman
she
with two
moved
dogs, and I'm
mountains
like, how do I?
in the short
She is
time that she had
incredible.
to, what, 2 years during the divorce. She moved mountains for
Honestly,
that boy.
such an every person I've spoken to that knew Heidi at some point in her life confirms wonderful person, lit up the room. I
Yeah.
know this is something that people say after people pass away, but this is
Well, we said this before,
absolutely
so
true. Yeah,
yeah, this is
we've said it
absolutely
before, but just confirming, like to everyone, if you have any inkling of thought that Heidi wasn't a good person or in any way deserved what happened to her, like push that out of your mind, get off the stream, because this isn't going to be for
Move
you.
on.
That's just not the truth. Okay, we're focused on the facts.
Yeah.
So she's at this party and she's there to see the person that she's dating, who we don't know who it is,
Correct.
and she needs to get her medication, right? And so she gets her medication,
And
and
we
then
don't know why he had that. We don't know why
yeah,
she didn't have hers with her, but it looked, I mean, we can see from the video of her leaving the house, she didn't have a whole lot with her. So sorry, my dog. Biscuit, stop. My apologies.
biscuit.
So here's what I was told, and I believe it to be 100% true. Not only because this is something that has been going on down, I don't know about other places, but I do know about where I live. And I need to say that this has become a huge problem with people who are not experienced, who don't do illegal drugs, who aren't, addicts that are on the street. Like, I don't know how to say it in a clear way, where I just want to make it clear that in no way was this intentional on Heidi's part, nor was she trying to get high or anything like that. I do have to say that the Adderall that she received was laced with fentanyl, and she overdosed. And I'm going to say that straight out, which is happening way too much in our world right now. I personally lost a friend who was not a drug user at all, just in September, for the same reason. Fentanyl laced with Xanax. And it was a horrific, very sad, very heartbreaking loss. Just like Heidi, amazing person. So
I'll also add to that a friend of mine is involved in the dealing world and he's quite big here, and so he has lots of connections, and so I asked about this because I thought
yeah,
HEIDI'S drugs.
I did. Yeah, I
Like
did.
I was like, we talked about that, and you're like, yeah, they're, it's in everything. But I'm thinking like, but if you're taking an upper, or you're taking like cocaine, for example, it counter, like I just like couldn't wrap my mind around
Yeah.
why a dealer would want to do this. So I did ask my friend and confirmed what Dawn was telling me. And it's essentially it's cheap. You put
I'm
a very
sorry,
little,
Kara B. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm reading the comments. I'm sorry, Kara B.
So you put a very little amount in all of the drugs and you quickly get people addicted. So they need to come to you, okay, to feed their addictions. And I will also say, once you're addicted to something like heroin or fentanyl, it's not like you're getting super high and having the best time of your life. You're literally just dosing yourself so you're not extremely ill.
And
Okay?
we're not saying
It's
that's always the
horrible.
situation with Heidi, but we're saying this
No,
is the
but
reason people
that's
do
why
this.
they do this. Yeah.
Right.
They get totally normal people who would never be involved in this kind of a scene, and they get them addicted and they can't get out of it. It's horrible, it's criminal, it's disgusting. And this is we're not saying that this happened to Heidi, but Heidi happened to take a drug that was laced for that purpose. And and we don't know who gave the drugs, why she was getting, to your point, Dawn, it from her boyfriend, whose name we still don't know, at that in that penthouse during the party, but she took it and she overdosed. So did anyone give CPR? Like, so
I
I'll
don't
I'll
know.
put my
Yeah.
I'll put myself, and I'm going to invite the listeners to also put yourselves in the shoes of party goers in this moment. Okay, so you're at this rager and you see someone take medication and they overdose. They fall to the ground, they stop breathing. And so my reaction would be, let's do first aid. Let's call 911. Let's get this person not naloxone or whatever it is. A
Mhm.
lot of people, especially downtown Vancouver, and I would assume LA, because the fentanyl crisis is huge there, the heroin crisis, especially
It's
since
horrible.
COVID. It's been a hell of a lot worse, and so a lot of people have these kits with them to revive people. So you
Narcan, that's it. Yeah,
Narcan, but I think it's called naloxone or something in or noxolone, something like that. But Narcan is the one, like everyone knows that name. So let's go with that. Um, but so we don't know if anyone administered any kind of help to her, right?
I didn't get that information.
No. So what did this person who's telling you this information say happened after that? So we know that from the pictures, we see people like on the floor cleaning up what,
Yeah.
glass?
Yeah. Oof. This is a fine line. I'm not sure how much is okay to go into detail with.
Hmm.
Um, I I will say that the four of the five people I spoke with, the other one was a child, so he wasn't there for this part of the conversation. Um, there was a lot of illegal activity going on in that apartment at the time, and people panicked, and
Is that what
they,
she said? Like, I want to make sure that those were her words, that
she did.
people panicked. Okay. And so what did they do?
Um, so a couple people, and I don't know who that is, carried her out. I don't know what they did to try to do anything for her before that, um, or any of that information. What I was told was that she was placed into the trash chute at the Ani building. And I can't, and I really don't want to say anything more than that because I don't want to, the investigation it's still ongoing.
Hmm.
And when and if they are able to prosecute somebody for this or get somebody in their custody, I want them to be able to have a solid case. But
Hmm.
I think that there are so many things flying around about this situation, about Heidi, about Jim, about all these other, I'm going to say innocent people. And it's not pretty. It's gotten very ugly, the things that have been said about a lot of people. And um, I first of all want to apologize to anybody that we have talked about and they were hurt by it. And we apologize. I apologize because I know that for instance, we were hard on Jim, although the divorce clearly it was an ugly at that time divorce, but come to find out that they are good with each other, and
I
Jim's
will also say, just
they're
as
taking amazing care of Bond of
yes,
her son and protecting him as much as possible, and that is a big reason for the discrepancies in a lot of his um, a lot of his interviews
mhm,
is to protect their son.
to
So
protect,
it's
and
not that
also
he's lying or hiding anything.
exactly, when
He
you're grieving, memory doesn't serve you well. You're on high alert all the time. Your mind is elsewhere. Sort of like, when you're the most stressed or dealing with the death of someone close to you, you can't be expected to be on top of things all the time. Okay. So, yes, we were hard on him, but I also think it was a fair assessment of what actually occurred when we're talking about, the documents, the court documents. Okay. Because some news outlets had, really honed in on certain aspects of that, and we felt it was only fair to give Heidi's part of the story. So we will say
and I don't regret. I
100
don't
with
regret
one
giving
no,
Heidi a voice. Yeah,
with 100% certainty though, Jim is not involved.
no,
Okay. So he is someone who is grieving the loss of his ex wife, of the mother of his child, of,
he's going through a lot right now.
he's going through so much.
So
So
much.
if you know Jim, like, please give him a hug, send him flowers, offer your help. Like, he is a grieving man and he deserves that. So that's what we'll say about Jim. Okay. So he's not involved. Let's walk away from that. All right.
Yeah.
So
And kudos. I mean, like, I have so much respect for somebody having to pick up the pieces and be there and stand tall like he has, not just for Heidi, but for their son. He and his wife are really amazing people, from what I've come to learn, and they're very good parents.
Yes. So she was. I'm gonna back up, because I still can't wrap my mind around a whole party seeing this happen and then deciding that the best course of action is to do what they did. I I can think of a, at least 10 other ways they could have managed to get Heidi potential help, bring her to the hospital, put her on the 8th floor, a common floor, call the police there. They didn't have to necessarily be involved. Like, to me, yes, I get that they were freaking out, but it's one thing to freak out and say, what are we going to do? It's another to rally people to do what they did. And so this person is telling you that's what happened. We will stop it at there,
Okay.
but we will also
because it's
spin
getting
it
to be a
around. Yeah.
I'm
I don't want, so, and this is a lot for anyone to process, but Dawn,
and I
having
don't want
been
to mess
in
up
the
any
building.
type of investigation they have going on. Just so everybody knows, I have spoken to the police. The police know all of this information in detail and way more detail, and as does her family, including Jim. We were
That's
not
why
going
we're
to do
doing
this
this.
without everybody knowing first. We're not just announcing this haphazardly.
Yeah.
This is very,
Yep.
yeah, we tried to cover all the bases of protecting the investigation and protecting the family and friends before any. But there's so much out there right now to clear the air. I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah. So, and I wanted to circle back with some of our suspects and say, like, these people are not involved. We've done that for Jim, but we still don't know the circumstances surrounding what happened here. You know,
Yeah.
there are other theories that I want to talk about as a result of learning this information. But anyway, I wanted to go back to that decision that was made when she OD'd. And obviously this, so also I was speaking with my friend who said when people are mixing these drugs, they're not chemists, right? So they're not doing it perfectly for every pill. They're just smashing it all together and hoping for the best. So, and again, we don't know what the source of these pills were, if they were actual prescriptions, if they were messed with. We don't know any of that. Okay.
Can
And we both, yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I comment on this comment really quickly?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that if anybody, I know that the police know some of the incident that happened, but they don't know a whole lot. I don't believe they knew at that time what they know now. And that's the reason there are a lot of, as anybody who's followed this case is very well aware that there are so many different levels and so many different layers of skin to this case and to Heidi's life, or the people that surrounded Heidi's life, mainly because of who she was involved with her employment, and go down the line. So that, in answer to that question, I wanted to touch base on that really quickly before we pass to that, because we may not come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that until recently the police were law enforcement was aware of that.
And I will also say, so we'll get to why Dawn has, oh, I'm so sorry. But Dawn has a concussion. And she's dealing with that. So she got a concussion that night. Do you want to talk about the how that happened?
I
Maybe
can just
maybe not.
quickly
It
say
just seems
why.
like,
I'm
yeah.
yeah, without mentioning names of the without mentioning names of the person connected to TI. I she gave me a concussion. Okay,
Mhm.
we were leaving, and she did not want us to leave. There was a heated argument between this woman and employees of Ani that knew what had happened, and she was trying to clear some air, I believe, or her conscience. I'm not sure which, because I'm not her, but they were not happy. So there was an argument that broke out. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. And myself and the person I was with left the building. She followed us out and came up behind me and hit me very hard in the head. And I saw stars and woke up the next day thinking it was Monday. And I'm still recovering from that. I'm still real lightheaded. Um, but I did go get a CAT scan yesterday, and yeah.
So, I have a previous life working in concussion treatment.
Yeah, it's
So,
only, let me tell you, Dr. Mal. Mal Moo. Mo. I wish we could just say your name. Mo. Maureen.
yeah.
Dr. Maureen. Um, and a few other people on our amazing Discord who have just tirelessly investigated this whole thing for since the beginning. Just amazing people, uh, and an amazing person. The amazing person I was with that night uh, have convinced me to call the doctor because I just wanted to sleep. And so, without the amazing care, and we have some, all of us, our team is just so great. I can't say enough, and I can't thank everybody enough. I did tell LAPD what happened. I think that their main priority is Heidi. Well, I know that. So they weren't real interested. I may, if this person ever comes into contact with me or anybody I know again, ever, I absolutely will press charges.
And you don't want to mess with Dawn. Trust me. That's all we'll say. Don't mess with Dawn.
I'm a nice
But
person. You don't mess with the people I care about.
exactly. Um, and the other thing I wanted to say about the concussion was because of my experience with the concussion world, I knew that your memory wouldn't necessarily serve you too well, at least the very next day.
I
So
did.
I also called the police. She doesn't, I don't, do you remember calling me like on your way home and
I
talking?
do a little time. No,
Yeah.
I actually I remember trying to call you. I don't remember calling. I don't. I remember trying to call you.
Well, just know that we
I don't
spent
know how
lots
I
of
drove
time on
home.
the phone.
We did?
Yeah, like your whole way home.
Well, good. You got the first yeah.
I was
Then
like,
I got
pull
home and
over. You shouldn't be
I do remember
driving.
talking to you after I got home, and you're like, "Get a pen and paper out right now." But I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
fall
I
down.
was on the phone while you were driving,
Yeah,
trying
thank
to
goodness.
convince you not to drive. Um, but you are Dawn and you just do what you want.
I wanted to
You-
get home to the safety of my house.
yes, you needed to see
I
your
was not
husband.
only heartbroken, and angry and hurt emotionally and physically by the whole event.
You're
And
traumatized.
I was
You
very,
are traumatized.
it's very,
Oh, she froze. But while I wait for her to unfreeze, I will tell you that I also took it upon myself to call the police. Just can you guys confirm that this you guys are still seeing the stream? Okay, there's Dawn back. Um,
oh, was I frozen?
yeah, you were frozen.
Hopefully I had a good look on my face.
It was okay. But I also the point of me mentioning that is I also called the police, two separate police stations at LAPD, and I said I have some information on the Heidi Plank case, and they said who? And I said the Heidi Plank case, the 39-year-old woman, blah blah. oh, can you remind me of the details?
which
I was
is
like
absolutely
infuriated. And no
unbelievable.
one's and then they passed me on to another department who didn't answer the phone. And
It just blows me
I
away.
left a long message with my name and number and all my contact information, and they never returned my call. That was 2 days ago.
It's just
So,
unbelievable. And you called with different information, right? Follow-up information even.
yes, I was saying everything on the back end that I had confirmed on my own. So maybe that's a good place for us to circle back to some of our theories. So again, Jim's not involved. Leave Jim out of it. He's a great man. We love Jim. We
And
also love Derek.
he's going through so much, and he's having to take the place of mom and dad right now. And that little boy and his mom were very close.
Hmm.
And
He's going through a lot.
yeah, and yeah, and he could use all the positive support that he can get out there. He deserves it.
Yeah,
He's
and
been to the ringer too in the
this needs
media.
to be over. I mean, I can't even imagine a 11-year-old boy like missing mom and taking care of her dog, and I just yeah, we
And
let's
protecting him. It's very hard to protect a child of that age from social media and rumors that circulate in social media. And I can't even, I can't even fathom being in his position and on top of it, being looked at
Mhm.
like, under the microscope.
Yeah.
So
So, with that,
thank
Jim
you,
is not
Jim. If
thank
he
you.
gets, yeah, if he happens to
Yeah.
see this or anybody that knows him, I just want to tell everybody, friends and family, you have the utmost respect from, I mean, I'm nobody, but from myself
We everyone
and
makes
from any,
mistakes. Everyone, divorces typically not
they're
amicable
worse together.
by
Mine was
nature.
ugly too,
Yeah.
but I'm, he's one of my absolute best friends now. It wasn't that way for 6 years, just like this. I mean, it happens.
So we know from your experience there what happened, and we know that there were illegal activities happening in 4002, which included gambling and cryptocurrency, which is interesting because Heidi was named as a manager or an owner. I can't remember which one it was.
The crypto, I believe it was owner. I can double check for you.
Yeah, I think so too. She was listed as owner with I think four other people and as well as Sugarman. And she was also
Originally.
listed originally. Yeah, so I'll get to that. She was also listed as an owner at a Camden Capital LLC. We don't know if it's the Capital Partners or Capital, but both of them they work together. I believe Camden Capital Partners is 50 to 75% managed
Well,
and owned
there is a
by the
crypto.
other.
I have to say there she was not on the LLC for the one that's in El Segundo. That's somebody else. She did she was technically she was working there, but she was not on that particular LLC.
For the
So
Camden Capital.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, Camden Partners, I believe that was.
right. But either way, they're closely connected, and
Yes.
like Sugarman was, I mean, that was his thing. Um, and then we know that she was part owner with Matthew Nordgren, who I found out is sort of a public figure too. He dated
Oh yeah.
friggin' Lindsay Lohan. I didn't know that. I just Googled his name. What the hell?
Yeah.
I focused on all this like business stuff, and I'm like, guys, did you know he
Hot
dated
ex
Lindsay
NFL
Lohan?
player, Lindsay Lohan, you name it.
What? I didn't even go there. I was just like, okay, this guy in the business, suit, and he does,
But we'd love to
is
meet you
interested
anyway,
in,
Matt.
yeah. Anyway,
I'll speak for
so
myself.
she, hey, so Heidi was she was co-owner with him for Arcadian Capital LLC, which dealt with weed with cannabis companies. So they never touched the plan apparently, but they helped, I don't know, deliver or invest in weed related activities. And then there's the IEC Consulting, which
Yes.
is owned in part by, I believe, two owners, Miguel Sugay and Sherwin Tan. Miguel is,
We can get no information whatsoever on. So if anybody has any, we'd love to hear it.
yeah, I think I got banned from a site for asking about him. All I just said is like, does anyone know any information about IEC Consulting? Because I was stuck on this. And then, like, next thing I know, I'm no longer in the group. So I don't know what happened there. But that just seemed really odd to me. But I called him out
I wanted to
specifically.
mention he's also has on his resume, Michael Segay has JMAS.
JAMIS Group. And who are
Which,
they?
what's that?
Who are they? What do they do again?
Well, I would have to double check my info before I answer that, but I'm gonna say
I think they're cannabis, aren't they? You check, and I'll
I'm
keep
gonna check
going.
right now because I don't want to
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
am
we're all about
pretty
the facts here.
sure.
But Miguel and Sherwin are both very young. They're both serial entrepreneurs. This is very similar to everyone else. It seems like the person even that owns a CBD company is a serial entrepreneur as well. And so this is
Oh,
right.
Miguel
Go ahead.
Segay's first name is Juan.
Like, how do you spell that?
Like
EW.
Juan.
Oh, Juan. Yeah, yeah, I knew
Juan
that.
Michael
Yeah,
Segay.
he just goes by Miguel.
Hmm.
Yeah, I found that interesting as well. But what I did want to say is that the business IEC Consulting is registered to 4002 South Hope Street, but none of the people involved in the business actually live there, at least on paper. They seem to live with their parents, but they're young. They're like 32, I think.
Oh, did I mention? Wait, did I mention that whoever she was dating at the time has moved out? Moved out the next day. I don't think we mentioned
That's
that.
another thing. So
So
they,
the
and
person that
that's kind
was
of where I was
staying in that
coming.
building no longer lives there.
Yeah. Do we know exactly when they moved out? Was it immediately
It
after
was
this all
immediately.
happened?
Hmm.
So
This
that's
is what I was told.
suspicious.
Yes.
That's what you were told.
Yes. By
And
people who
also
know them.
on November 4th, this was a big day for Heidi being removed from businesses. Because on November 4th, for Crypto Hold'em, Heidi and Sugarman were removed. For November 4th, for Arcadian Capital LLC, Heidi was removed. And
Hmm.
Camden, one of the Camden groups, also removed her November 4th. And what else happened on November 4th?
They found her vehicle.
They found her car. And they found it. Do you know any other information around that?
I don't want to go against what the police have reported.
Okay.
So, but I know that I don't know because I wasn't there. I was told, and that was backed up by two other people, that her car was moved that night to where the police found it. And I don't want to go, like I said, I don't want to get involved in the investigation, but it wasn't the same place that they said they found it. The police said that they found it. Not the same
Well, the
place.
police were vague, intentionally
They were
vague
vague.
around. Yeah, they
Mhm.
said a couple of blocks away from the building. So that's all we'll say.
Correct.
But it was moved.
Yes, it was.
And so we know that at that party there was gambling, there was cryptocurrency involved. Crypto Hold'em LLC, just saying. We know that people who attended there were people who owned cannabis related businesses. Also, all I'll
The
say.
person that I spoke to about this that told me all owns a CBD um, company that puts its CBD in everything, food, um, bath and body work type of stuff, like
Mhm. And for
lotion,
those
soap,
who don't know what CBD, so on
edible,
the
everything.
yeah, on the marijuana plant, there's THC and CBD. CBD, it doesn't get you high. It's not a psychoactive ingredient. It helps with lots of things like sleep and anxiety. People give it to their dogs. Like CBD, like you could take a whole vial of CBD and not feel a single thing. You might sleep a little better, but like it's not going to get you high. Okay, so that's why like it's really easy to get a business up and running when it comes to CBD specifically. So I just wanted to mention that on the side. It doesn't mean that every person who's running a CBD company is totally clean and that's all they do. So I don't know, and I don't think you do either, Don, about details around that specific company, but regardless, we know just from searching, and everyone can search this online, that the Hope and Flower building had quite a few cannabis related
Mhm.
companies working out of there.
Which is not legal to do in California. So you can have them. I mean, you have to have certain licenses and you have to have a storefront. You can't just sell it out of your apartment and call it a company and have it. And that's just not legal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's limitations on amounts and quantity and um, lots of limitations on it. People think that you can just walk around and, oh, it's legal to have pot. I'm going to smoke pot right here and I'm going to sell pot right here on the corner and da 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 da. No, that's just not, it's legal, but it's not legal in
It's
that
not
way.
legal. Like, it's even, actually, I was going to say,
There are
like,
a lot
even
of
like
restrictions.
Vancouver, but even in Vancouver, there are restrictions. Like in Vancouver, you can own up to 4 plants and carry, I think, as much weed as you want. And you can, like, literally, and I see it all the time. I don't understand it, but people go outside and bring their bongs with them and then they smoke like on the water. And I'm like,
And
can
I
you
have
just
to
roll a
say that
joint?
I know for a fact that um, in LA, there's been many instances of marijuana being laced with fentanyl, and
Which
people
is
die.
horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. People doing that, like, that is just disgusting. Um, so I guess the questions we still have, one, what the hell?
Yeah,
Who reacts that way? I don't care how, like, and this is just me, just me, okay? So I've been in situations where it's an emergency situation and definitely everyone reacts differently. And there's a whole psychological group think that could have been going on here. But man, the amount of effort that went into doing what they did, to me, that's a very much, that's a Brian Laundrie type of thing. So anyone who was following the case of Brian Laundrie, they found out that his fiance was murdered by him through strangulation. And so this
which takes time,
deems, which
and
takes
you're watching.
time.
Yeah, and you have to really.
Yeah. So it's not just that, oh, I'm freaking out. I'm realizing I'm doing something wrong. Doesn't fit with my morals. No, this is the similar, in my opinion, type
Yeah,
of situation
mentality.
where a group of people, who knows how
Cared
many,
more about,
do we know it was two people who carried them, or was it
more than that.
right? So that could be, anyway, we know that one
It,
to
it,
five
it was more
people.
than two people that I was told, at least.
So those people had to agree that this was a good
It's not easy to get
decision.
to do what they did to dispose of a person.
And I still don't understand why you wouldn't try and help somebody in that situation. We know there are ways to revive a person. This
Even
is,
the two models that were just, what I believe it was a week or two right after, also had drugs that are, they not also they had drugs, illegal drugs, that were laced with fentanyl, and they both overdosed, and they were at least dropped off on the curb at the hospital in Century City, at least.
like, something
I mean,
else could have
for
been done.
for
What are you covering up is my question. Like, what are people, why are you reacting this way?
yeah,
Like, it doesn't have to implicate anyone. Like, if you're someone, you're like, oh, you sold them or gave her the drugs or whatever it may be, you could say, I don't know where they got that. You could lie to save somebody's life,
right.
potentially. But I don't see that had happened. I don't know. I don't know if they tried anything. We have not been told that. But that is incredibly suspicious to me.
Yeah,
That
the fact
that's
that there
how.
are no excuses given, like we tried this and we tried that, nothing like that was said.
And then, but then
I'm not
even
saying you
even
didn't.
after
I'm just
that,
saying that wasn't important,
yeah.
which is very upsetting.
And so this person, when they're telling this information, what is their demeanor like? Are they freaking out? Are they like sad, teary-eyed?
Nope,
No?
nope, not at
It
all.
was just a matter of fact type of thing. Like, hey, I have this information
The only
and
the two things that that person was upset about was her tire was slashed, and the other people that were present, the employees that were present at the time, were upset because she was saying anything and they were going to get in trouble. One of the people did attempt to apologize to the person I was with. She wasn't having it. Like, after all that, she said, no. He did seem at that time. Now, this person that tried to apologize was not in 4002 at the time, but they were working on the clock. And yes, so Lily, Lily, absolutely. Can I please put this up there?
Yeah.
All right.
I do want to say reverse weight racism.
I don't want to be political, but this was mentioned that night to me. And I haven't even talked to you about this, Mel, because I didn't think it was important. But yeah, this was actually mentioned by the person who was talking. Many times. Several times. So
did they use the word reverse racism?
No, they said she was They said they described her. It was a white, blonde, blue-eyed.
Oh, so they didn't say racism, or did they?
Reversed racism.
They did say that.
He's talking about a blonde, blue-eyed girl. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I will just take the opportunity to say that reverse racism doesn't exist. It's just racism.
Yeah, I agree. No. I totally agree with you right there, Mo. I 100% agree.
It's not an arguing thing.
I know what she meant by that.
Yeah. There's nothing like, we're all learning all the time. I just wanted to put that out there.
A pretty white girl. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And so, but they mentioned specifically they felt
Well,
racism.
This person that's unnamed is an activist in her own mind, at least.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Well, yeah, she's very big on getting the point across that, which is true, that there is racism, but that I can't. I don't know. It's hard for me. It's a fine line again, but that she was cared for less than she would have been because of what she looked like.
And again, we have to wonder
by the people who did it. Yeah, they're
like if you're dating somebody, like I would be. That's mortifying. Like if someone if I was dating somebody and that happened to me and the reaction was what it was, I wouldn't move out and try and cover this up. And so the party goers were told by whom to say what or not say what?
I can't. I don't know. I wasn't told.
So we don't know, but
I wasn't told anything about. What do you mean, the party goers? I don't know. I know for sure what the employees were told, and I know because there's an email, and I know, I'm pretty sure that what was told to me was true from other residents that were there in when I went to the event that night upstairs on the 8th floor. I spoke to other residents too, very nice people. Although one of them, I'm sorry, I just got thrown off by one of the comments there. I'm sorry. My head is I'm still kind of dizzy and a little thrown off right now. So, what was, I'm sorry, that the residents were also told, that anybody who knew was told not to talk about the incident. And not to talk about so many residents that had no idea. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that live there don't even know what happened. They don't know about it at all.
It just seems like a weird move for the management, for Ani, to also say, don't talk about it to anybody. No, it's one thing to say. Exactly.
In looking into them, anybody can look in this public record. They really have a history of of that mob mentality, if not
Mhm.
life stuff.
I know. So I'm locking my doors at night because I'm
Yeah,
hopping
I'm
a skip
double, triple
away.
locking. I'm thinking to say live in a gated community, and it's really hard to get in here.
Yeah, and there are other
And
reasons why you don't want to mess with Dawn anyway. So
thank you.
don't mess with Dawn. I'm not
Yeah, I
threatening
have, I
anybody
have, I have
personally
some
because I
people,
can't do anything, but
I have some people watching out for me right as of right now
Mhm.
because yeah, they one of
I
the
will
first people I contacted. So I think I've got my back covered.
And I will also say that we took a couple of days before letting this information out because we really had to think about what to say and what not to say because we one don't want to put Dawn or anybody else in any danger, and two, we don't want to impact the investigation in a negative way. So we
Correct.
were waiting for the police to call us back for a couple of days to
Yeah.
like let
Well,
us know, but
yeah, I
I
talked
have
to them yesterday morning, and I didn't ask, but I did tell them what I did, and that I've investigated this. I've been looking into this and investigated. I had so much a wealth of overwhelming information since the
yeah,
very beginning, and um, that and they knew, they were very aware, but they didn't tell me not to say anything. I'm doing this on my better judgment because I don't want the investigation to be screwed up. I'm not
yeah,
saying LAPD is not doesn't solve cases; they do, but they're taking their sweet time and for their own reasons. I
yeah.
have to trust that. I um yeah,
I mean, and let's take a step back and realize this is not the only case that LAPD is looking at. It's
right.
riddled with
But for
crime
them not
in
to
downtown
even know
LA,
who you're talking about when you
but
call is a little that's
they
concerning.
didn't give me a lot of confidence. If I had called and spoken to someone, I would have been very upfront and asked about, what we can and cannot say, but I haven't even received a call back. So I know
Yeah,
everyone
that's
is really worried about Dawn, and trust me, we are too. I have Dawn's best interest in mind. We're going to make sure that she's okay. She has a mild concussion. It does take time. Like this is going to be the end of your day in terms of screens and you also have to go to a Christmas party.
I do.
So so let's make sure you have time to get ready for that, but you look beautiful and ready to go. But you know, I I've said this to you, but I just, make sure you take the time to process this in a way that,
I'm having a hard
puts
time,
yourself first. Yeah.
this has been, and I know we're not supposed to get emotionally involved in cases, but aside from this, I mean, I've made a really, really good friend through all this, who is hurting. Great, couple great friends, but one great friend who's really hurting, um, and trying to pick up the pieces in all of this, and not to mention, I just have to say, I wish I had a chance to meet this wonderful woman before she left this earth. But
Yeah.
it's emotionally, I'm still, it's a little, it's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard. That kind of ending it's unbelievable.
It's
It's not
disgusting.
right. It's not fair. And the world isn't fair, but boy, and I'm still committed to seeing this through to the very end. It's not obviously not over, until
We still
somebody,
have lots of questions. We know
but
what happened, but we don't know
yeah,
so many things
when
surrounding.
we've gone this far, I'm not stopping now. So
Well, you're going to take a break though for a couple of days to breathe and
yeah, I am
and
going to breathe.
and
I'm going to
relax and
process
know
the
we have a whole team that is continuing.
it's been
That's
amazing.
the beauty of having our Discord team, which if you want to join our Discord, you can email us at maudawninvestigations@gmail.com. I'll put it in the comments once we finish the stream, which will be soon.
Just know you're
But
screened though. Just be, aware
you
ahead of
are
time.
screened. I will ask you, sorry, personal information, but it's only because we
It's a
only want
very
the best of the best and people who are committed to doing the right thing and
we're very
have,
private about
e-
the information that we
yeah.
come across, and we the main reason we do it is to bring answers and for the families and friends,
Mhm.
and hopefully their loved one back. But we're committed to this at this point.
Mhm.
And it's very clear with the response that you've received from Ellie that, and in so many other instances, I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying that I'm just trying to express do have a lot of cases, and we may be a thorn in their side, but we're also doing very good work that needs to be done because
I think we found a lot of information that they don't even know. Like the background information on who's registered at that apartment building, who may or
right,
may not be involved.
they've got their plates full. It has become a very violent world down in Los Angeles lately. In Southern California has become very violent. We've got smash and grabs. We've got you name it. It's really gotten. I grew up here, and I am shocked at what has been happening over the last, especially last recent months. It's been unbelievable. It's it's scary, very scary. And this one was very close for comfort. And I'd do it again because got some answers that really needed to be to get out to find. We really needed to find the answers
Yeah.
to for
So,
family. We have in constant communication with some family members and good friends, and for them to hear nothing is not fair because granted it's been quiet, but it's also been quiet to them, and that's not right.
yeah, and that
LAPD has their hands full, both of them, with
yes,
other things,
definitely.
with
And
everything.
another thing is I know I have the 1-800 tip line down there.
I
I
do
have
not,
learned
Karen.
um oh yeah, we don't know that. But I have learned that if you call the tip line, it automatically reroutes to wherever you are located. So it'll say on your phone that you're calling LAPD Crime Stoppers, but Vancouver answered for me, and I'm like, can you transfer me? So if you're not in the LA area, that tip line won't go direct to LAPD. But having said that, if you do have any tips, please, do call the police. That we don't want to interfere with that,
Right.
but send us the tip too, okay? Because we're
Yeah.
very obviously very close to this investigation.
And
So
we treat everything we get with the utmost respect for the investigation and utmost respect for the people involved, directly involved, also.
Mhm. So I mean that's where we're at right now. It's an incredibly sad situation. We have lots of questions that still need answering. We've given everything to the police, and they're, I can only assume, working on it. But we are continuing to keep going. So if you do have any tips, like I said, please email us. I'll put the email down in the comments once we finish the stream. And I did want to just mention that we are on another case right now as well. So this isn't replacing anything, but I'm just going to put her information up on the screen. Her name is Christine Beeson. Um, and I'll put up the link to, she was in Minneapolis. We have a wonderful woman, Mallory, who is helping out with being boots this time. Good old Dawn doesn't need to go. I mean, I know you'll keep going downtown now. That's like
No,
your
I won't.
second. No, you
No,
okay?
I will
Good,
not. There's no
good,
answers to be found down there
good.
anymore. I think that
And
I've
you
found
need to,
everything, and
yeah,
I need to
your
stay clear of that
safety.
area for my own safety because I have a feeling that if this gets back, which I'm sure it will, I'm not going to be welcome down there.
So this is Christine. So she was reported missing after last being heard on December 1st. She was going to travel to go see her parents in Wisconsin. She left early and apparently left a note with her neighbor saying she was leaving early. And she was going to visit her parents before she went out to Hawaii on December 12th. Obviously, she never made it to Hawaii. So this is her information. Minneapolis area. She was going, where was she going? She was going to a very small town, Bayfield. So apparently this is a town of like 500 people, I think. So very, very
Wow.
small town where her parents lived. I'll have to double check that information, but that's what they said. So if anyone has any information around this, I hear that police are now working on a warrant. If you know anything about warrants, you really need a lot of information to be able to get a warrant to search someone's home. And I'm sure from what the police think, just based on the information surrounding this, is that perhaps Christine doesn't want to be found. So that it could be that she's intentionally gone missing. But if you look any further into who this person is, she is a person who's had the same job for almost 2 decades. She is lovely. She has no history of drug use, no criminal history, nothing like that. So this is extremely odd for her to have left and then not be heard from anybody. And apparently her, now I'm getting into the weeds, but apparently her voicemail was maxed out, and then another day there was room, and this was after she went missing. So that's where we're at. We're looking at this on the side as another case that we're investigating, but I just thought since I had your attention here, I might point you towards this case. And then we will say goodbye, I think, and wish
Do we
you
want
a.
to take any calls right now, or do we want to?
Does anyone want to call in? I'll give you the link to the StreamYard
Yeah,
if you'd
just
like
post it
to
really quick there.
if you'd like to share any thoughts, any reactions.
We might want to have Allie call in real quick too.
Mhm. But
You're
other
welcome.
than that, we love you, Trey. Everyone that we've connected with over this has been incredible and lovely, and
And
I
thank
only
you,
have
Lily.
kind things.
Sorry.
Yeah, Lily as well. Like you guys are our whole team, amazing people.
We're very blessed.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a lot to digest, guys. Please take some time to yourself. Be
Yeah, we'll do
gentle
a
with
recap.
yourself.
We'll come on and do and take some calls,
Mhm.
and we'll let you know ahead of time that
Yeah,
we're doing
we're
that
still going.
uh,
Um,
in a few
so
days.
yeah, that's what we'll do. While Dawn tends to her brain, because we want
And
to make sure the
Iconic
brain.
and Mar, I just want to
Mhm.
say hi. They're
Yeah,
here.
we love
Checking
you,
in. Thanks for
Kimberly,
watching. And
and
everybody
yeah.
else.
All right.
All right, you guys. We love you all. Please stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe, be
Take
kind,
care
be
of each
gentle
other.
to yourself. Everyone's carrying
Love you,
something and you have
ladies.
no idea. So just be kind to everyone. All right. Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk soon.